And here's the good news. Some of the Democrats, and I'm not talking about the parties, I'm talking about the people we know who are Democrats. I really truly believe they're in the same area that many of us were in 2007. I mean, look, I was a Bush supporter. I supported the war. But after about 2006, I started saying, wait a minute. First of all, what are all these, the banking thing is falling apart. What do you mean you can go into a bank and you can just get a loan? What is that? That doesn't make any sense. We're spending too much money. What do you mean that my patriotic duty is to go shopping? That's not right. And what do you mean? What are we fighting for anymore? We're America. You and I both know. Pound them into glass and go home. Why is this dragging on so long? And then the final straw, at least for me, there's two of them, Campion and Ramos. When George Bush had those guys arrested, our border guards, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Something's not right here. And then the cherry on the cake, see if I can remember it exactly, I had to destroy the free market system to save the free market system. What the heck is that? That's when I knew, okay, something's not right. Something's not right. I absolutely believe that some of the Democrats now are saying the same thing, because they not only have, they didn't have just, I have to destroy the free market to save it. They have, I wrote some of these down. We have to spy on you to keep you secure. We have to kill our own citizens with drones without a trial to preserve rights. We have to charge more for health care so it costs less. And we have to spend more to stop the debt. I mean, they must not have any mirrors in their house, because how can they look at themselves and hear these things? They are now starting to fall away. Now, some of them, want full-fledged Marxism, but others don't. There are neighbors that we have been pitted against each other. And they are coming back to common sense. They are coming back and looking for principles. This morning, I wrote this out, and it's not finished, but I just wanted to share it with you. Everything has become so dusty and so old and so antiquated and so overdone. We the people. You see that script all the time, and you immediately, especially if you're on the left, you roll your eyes, oh yeah, we the people, we got it. Everything's so overdone that you no longer look at these words and realize what they mean. They are profound. We hold these truths to be self-evident. What does that mean? I can wake you up in the dead of night, full sleep, one of those where like the drool is like caked on your face and you can barely open your eyes and you don't know where you are and you're like, oh, what? And I could say, should I be able to scoop somebody off the street and shoot them in the head just because I think they're guilty if I'm the president? You'd go, no. And where am I? You'd know. I could go to the rice paddies in China and say to them, should the government be able to do this to you? Tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to live, how you're to live, how you're to procreate with your spouse? I go to the rice paddies. Now that has been ingrained in them for so long, you give me 10 minutes and they'd go, okay, really, nobody's around? No, that's not right. That's what self-evident means. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are endowed by their Creator. One of the leading guys against creationism, what's his name from England, the big scientist, what's his name? Yeah, Dawkins. I love this. When it comes down to it, when asked, what if it's not God that created us, who created us? I'm not kidding you. Well, it's obvious that there was an intelligent alien life form that created us and planted us on this planet. Oh, and I'm the crazy one. So let me just translate. We're all endowed by our Creator, whether it's an alien life form or God. Somebody endowed us with some rights, and they're inalienable, which means you can't change them no matter who you are. You can't change them. And among these are life. You cannot kill me. You cannot take my life from me. You cannot take my unborn child's life from me. Liberty, you cannot arrest me without charge and without trial. And the pursuit of happiness, I have a right. I don't care what kind of Common Core testing you've done on my child. If my child doesn't want to do that, you're not going to mainstream him in there. Give him freedom to choose his own destiny. I mean, we've all seen... I think we've all seen enough episodes of American Idol to know, not everybody makes the right choice in life, but it's their choice. Therefore, capital letters, because no one had ever done this. Oh yes, us kings will get together. Us lords and ladies will do it. Nobody had ever said, we the people, the common folks, the unwashed, the people that everybody always in power, it might as well say, we the flyover people, the people that you don't think are all that important. We the people, in order to create not a perfect nation, in order to create a more perfect nation, knowing it's going to have flaws, but it's going to be better than what we have. It's not going to be perfect. It's a more perfect nation or union. To establish justice. To ensure domestic tranquility. You want to talk about a violation of the Constitution in Washington, D.C. This is the Constitution they're sworn to uphold, protect, and defend. We always talk about the rights. Can we just talk about the preamble? Are they in doing things that ensure domestic tranquility? Or are they pitting us against each other? The rich against the poor, the white against the black. Is that ensuring domestic tranquility? To promote the general welfare. My 7-year-old daughter asked me the other day, Dad, what's that mean? I said, well, it doesn't mean you spend money on it. It just means you lend credibility. Promote the general welfare. Is it good for people? Is faith generally good for people? Yes. So is the government promoting that? I'm not saying endorsing. I'm not saying spend money. I'm saying promote it. That's good. Do no harm on those things that promote things getting better. And to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution. And then I would add, which we need to include just a few things that each of us know to be true, but have to now be spelled out clearly, so the government right now and all of its servants for the years to come will understand that there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of rights out there. We're going to hone in here on just a couple of rights that we need to make sure that the government knows you do not cross these lines. But more importantly, we're going to spell these out because the citizens need to be aware. And if you start to see the government violate one of these, it should be a warning bell that tyranny is on the march. 1, you got a right to speak your mind. You have a right to speak your mind without fear of the government coming after. Now, you may lose your business because you're unpopular, but you have a right to say it. There's no use of metadata or tracking by the NSA or the IRS or any government agency. You don't have a right to do that. You can't track us, especially when you're using things like the IRS to silence people's speech. Clear violation, and everybody on the left and the right would know that in a dead sleep. Hey, should the President of the United States wake up? Should the President of the United States be able to track people, be able to use all of their information to go find something about them, to coerce them to stop marching in the streets and stop gathering with people who don't agree with his policies? Every single American, left, right, center, all of them would say, no. That's a self-evident truth. And if you just look at the first 10, you just look at the first 10 in the Constitution as warning signs. The government is not allowed to violate any of these. And American people, warning, if they start running over them, that's an alarm bell. That's an alarm bell. That's the real state of our union. And what is the state of our people? The state of our people is good. Let me give you a letter from Ronald Reagan. This is one of the saddest letters I've ever read. This was written to his daughter Patty. And he wrote it just as he was starting to slip. Patty and Ronald Reagan didn't get along, obviously. This letter was actually sold by Patty for drug money. Think how lost she must have been to receive this letter and then sell it. Dear Patty, it was good to hear from you. As the song goes, the days dwindle down to a precious few. In view of my recent birthday, I find this song appropriate. Patty, I think the talk between us is the answer to some of our differences. There are extremists on both sides. But reasonable people should be able to look into both sides and see if every charge or countercharge is justified by the facts. Even if there are differences, would this ever justify a family separation? We can disagree on things without abandoning our family relationship. I remember the little girl who sat on my lap and asked me to marry her. I love you, Dad. This could be a letter written to our nation. Can't both sides, reasonable people, get together? Are we really supposed to abandon our family relationship with one another? We have to make sure that we find the love of one another, the love of that more perfect union, knowing that it is not going to be perfect ever, but we can continue to grow it and do the things that ensure domestic tranquility, while at the same time standing for true principles and values. Everything that I showed you tonight, except the Ronald Reagan letter, can anybody tell me what they all have in common? They're all Texans. Every single, and it was hard to narrow them down. I started a list and I'm like, I wonder if I could find any real good Texas hero. It was hard. I got a boatload of stuff I didn't bring. There's something in the water here. There's something good about Texas. There's something good about Texans. And it is the yes, yes, ma'am, no, sir. It is the politeness. It is not the arrogance. Texans are not arrogant. I love your state. It's not as much as I love my state, but I love your state. It's not an arrogance. It's a humility, but it's a knowing what is true. And that's why Texans, if we stand together, if we understand that Texas is under siege, and they are trying to do to Texas what has been done all across the country and to our country. And if we all understand that if you lose this republic, you lose the other republic, and freedom is lost all around the world. And we find those principles in ourselves, the ones that are worth not just fighting for, not just worth dying for, but the ones truly worth living for our families, for our spouses, for our God, for our Constitution, for our republic. Texas must stand now. Thank you. God bless.